today I wanted to make a video about frequently asked questions about fostering. Now, if you're just starting in fostering or you're thinking about starting to foster, you might have a lot of these questions, such as how much does it cost and, just basic how do you do it questions. I'm hoping to answer a few of those questions today in today's video. If you have other questions that were not on this list, leave them in the comments below. Maybe I can make another video like this, or I can direct you to an answer. So question number one that a lot of people ask about fostering is, how much does it cost? This is a valid concern. Some people really could not afford to care for kittens. Kittens can be very, very expensive. One of the largest expenses is vet care, and I think every rescue that you'll come across will probably provide vet care. I've never heard of someone fostering having to pay for vet care unless it was a rescue they started or they're fostering independently somehow. If you're going through someone else's rescue or organization, they will most likely cover all medical and vet care expenses. Things that you might have to provide, depending on the situation, might be, the food and that kind of thing. I don't have to provide food. I do use dry food that I feed my resident cat, but I could get that provided for me if I needed it. A lot of places will provide the food. I myself get the litter and all of the other supplies like blankets, the playpen, food scale for weighing the kittens, but most of the things I buy for the kittens are investment type costs. I'll pay for them once and then I can use that item again and again for multiple litters of kittens. So just ask questions before you sign up to foster, which, by the way, I have a video about things you should ask before you sign up to foster, so you can check that out. I'll try to leave it in the description or in the cards or something. Just ask questions and make sure you know what to expect. Question number two that gets asked often about fostering is, can I foster if I have pets? In most cases, the answer will be yes. So this is also something you'll want to ask about the rescue's policy, but I can't really think of that many instances in which you would not be able to foster and still have a pet. A lot of places will do a 2-week quarantine during which the animals cannot see each other, but after that they can have supervised interaction. My rescue does not allow that at all. I have to keep my foster kittens completely separate from my resident cat at all times, which is fine. I just have them in a playpen and I keep the door to the bedroom shut. It's not a big deal, especially if you have a whole room to dedicate to fostering, but even if you don't, it's pretty easy to, move stuff around and figure out how to keep them separate. You'll have to be really careful in some situations. For example, I know some dogs are, hunting breeds, which obviously the breed does not necessarily make the dog, but they do have a tendency to hunt small animals sometimes, and so you'll want to be very, very careful of that, not to ever let them near each other if that's the case. Also, if you have a cat has a disease that could be passed on to the kitten, such as feline leukemia, you'll have to be extra careful, and you'll have to make sure you talk to your foster coordinator about exactly how you should go about that. Maybe in that case you could foster other kittens that have already tested positive for feline leukemia. So there's a lot of room for flexibility and, making compromises, rearranging things so that you can foster. Question number 3 is similar to the previous question, and that is, will my pets be safe? Like I said, there are some situations that could be a little more risky, and some situations are not risky at all. That's why a quarantine period is so important. You're going to want your resident animals to be up to date on their shots. You're going to want to supervise all interaction if it's allowed at all. The kittens should be adequately tested for health issues. You should kind of know their health background as much as possible. For example, if a kitten has, feline leukemia, like I said, you might not want to bring them into a home that has another cat. Question number 4, is it hard to say goodbye? Yes, it is hard to say goodbye, but you kind of get to a point where you realize, okay, I'm gonna be sad to see this kitten go, but I know that my home is not the home for him long term. I was just here temporarily to kind of rescue him and to care for him until he could go out into the world on his own. Well, not on his own, with an adopter. One thing that helped me, and I'm thinking of making a video about how to say goodbye to kittens, but one thing that helped me was getting a new kitten or new litter of kittens right away. Every time I have fostered, I have returned a kitten and then got one the same day or a few days afterwards. So that has been really helpful for me, you know, giving up a kitten and then bringing a new one home, and it kind of tells you, you know, this isn't the end. You're going to still be fostering. There will be more kittens that need you, and that's a really important mindset to have. Goodbye is the goal. You can't keep every kitten you ever foster, or you won't be able to foster anymore, and probably you won't be able to live in your house anymore. So even though you are sad to see them go and it is hard to say goodbye, you will be happy for them to go into another home, and it will be fine. You know, the kittens need us more than we need to not have to say goodbye, literally saving their lives when we bring them into our home. So I believe that it's more important to bring them into our home and for me to go through a temporary sadness for them to have a happy forever. My last two questions kind of go together, and that is, what is the best part about fostering and what is the worst part? I kind of answered half of this question in my Q&A. We're gonna go with what is the worst part of fostering first. I've been fortunate enough so far, you know, I haven't been fostering long, so I haven't really had any terrible tragedies. I haven't had a kitten pass away in my care. That is kind of unavoidable if you're going to be fostering for any length of time. You know, we don't like to talk about that, but it is the truth. It can happen, and it's heartbreaking, I'm sure. I haven't experienced it, and I wish I would never have to, but I know I probably will at some point. In my personal experience, the worst times I've had during fostering were when a kitten was in pain or didn't understand what was going on. It was scared, and I couldn't really explain to it what was going on. A few of my kittens have had URIs while I was caring for them. It's so sad and hard to see when they're laying there struggling to breathe maybe, or whatever the case may be, and you can't explain to them, I'm getting you medicine, I'm working on it, you know, you'll be better soon. And on a more happier note, question number 6, what is the best part about fostering? I've also mentioned this several times. I love seeing the kittens grow up and the progress they make. You know, part of the reason I began fostering was because I lost my cat and I needed something to care for. So that is a really important thing to me. I'm happy when I'm caring for kittens and knowing that they need me and I'm enjoying it, and so it's good for everyone. You know, their lives are being saved from potentially a very, very tragic ending somewhere else because they're in my home. Also, you haven't lived unless you've had a kitten fall asleep purring in your lap. It's just the best thing. So if you have any more questions that were not covered on this list, leave them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you either in a video or I'll comment back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.